Welcome, everyone. Here, let me try this again. Welcome, everyone. Nice, nice. Thank you so much for attending here at ASC during our Professional Development Day. I hope you had a fabulous holiday weekend. I hope the weather this morning didn't throw you off your normal schedule too badly. For those of you who I haven't met, my name is Julie Penley. I'm the Associate Vice President of Instruction and Student Success here at the college. It is a new position under Vice President Steve Smith, so I told him that I would take a few minutes to orient you to our area and how we can help you in the classroom and help your students succeed in their instructional goals. The area is a little bit larger than some of the other areas, but we are one big happy family under this umbrella. We have 8 areas working together, and they are the counseling departments, the curriculum office, the distance learning support services, the library technical services, the libraries, quality enhancement plan, student learning outcomes, and the student support offices. So together, we are here to facilitate instruction, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's online, dual credit, early college, high schools, to support not only faculty in their teaching, but students in their learning. So over the coming semester, you'll hear more from us, and we hope to partner with you to facilitate success at our institution. With that, I am so proud to introduce our Vice President of Instruction and Workforce Education, Mr. Steve Smith.
Thank you so much, Dr. Penley. I'd asked them to put a box on the stage like they did for the president last year, but evidently that didn't make it. I wanted to look a little taller for those of you that are watching the stream. So I do want to welcome everybody here at the ASC, as well as all of the other sites that we're streaming to today. It is a little rainy today, so I'm pleased to see that many of you ventured out and got off your campuses, came over to the ASC to be with us today. I do have the privilege of just saying a few opening comments and remarks and sharing a little bit of information with you before we get to the important work of the day, and that's hearing from our college president, Dr. William Serrata. So I will introduce him in just a few minutes. But I want to take an opportunity to begin by reminding all of us why we're here. And so you see up on the screen, hopefully those of you that are at the streaming location see this too, these are the reasons that we're really here. Folks like Raimundo Rios, who's criminal justice and psychology student, Efrem Morales, civil engineering, and the other folks that you see up here on the screen. These are the reasons that we're here. We're here to make their dreams come true. If we make our dreams come true along the way, that's pretty good too. But we're really here for them. And so my comments will circle around or center around things that we can do and are doing to make sure that their path through education is successful, effective, and efficient, and that we help them fulfill their dreams of either transferring to a 4-year university or entering the workforce as productive citizens. So some of you have heard about the American Association of Community Colleges Pathways Project. Forgive me for those of you that have heard a little bit about it. Since we're addressing all the faculty, staff, and administration today, I wanted to share just a little bit, the cliff notes of this incredibly important project. As you see, it's funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and it's focused on building capacity for us to scale career pathways for our students. So we've got a lot of initiatives. We've got a lot of efforts focused on student success, completion, retention, all of those things. This will be the overriding umbrella for all of those efforts. We will build upon our nationally recognized work and Dr. Serrata's goals of EPCC engagement, partnerships and pathways, creating a college-going culture, and completion. So we're one of 30 colleges nationally that have been selected to do this important work. with the expectation that once we've scaled it at the 30 institutions that we will share how to do that with our other 1,200 or so community college partners in the nation. So when we talk about a pathway, a guided pathway, what are we really talking about? A pathway should be well structured and designed for students to meet their goals. It should be focused on a student making an informed decision about their career or their intended path through a four-year university. It should be monitored. In other words, we should periodically stop and take a look and assess where are the students moving along the pathways. And if they're off track, how can we get them back on it? A guided pathway also starts before they get into our institution, and it extends beyond when they leave our institution. So we want to get them in early, have them make an informed decision about what they want to be when they grow up or what they want to transfer as to a four-year institution. And then we want to help facilitate that transfer once they've gotten through us. And so along those lines, what do you suppose is the number one answer that students give when they sit in front of a counselor and they say, the counselor asks, what do you want to major in? I don't know. So we need to do a better job of helping them understand how important that decision is and help them make that decision. And if they can't make that decision at the very beginning, then we need to put processes in place that will help them make that decision early in their college career, not later in their college career, after they've accumulated a bunch of college credit already. So this slide kind of talks about what it's like for a student to navigate our system. We have a dizzying array of timelines and deadlines, both before and during their stay with us. There's a large selection of choices that they make along the way. We have degree plans that don't always line up with the course schedules that we offer. We have answers that they might receive that differ depending on who they ask, or between the campuses that they ask at. So our processes or services should be consistent for all of us. So we want to take that process and turn it into this process, a superhighway of students progressing through their program 2 slots. So how about a big thank you to Dr. Serrata for that commitment. It takes all of us to do this work, so it's not just the faculty and the counseling and advisors. The next institute, as we said, will focus on intake folks, so recruitment, admissions, those important front door operation folks that may be the very first people that a student sees as they enter our institution. They could be the ones that make or break the deal of whether a student enrolls with us or not. So how can we facilitate that process and ease student entrance into the college? I won't read all of those for you, but one of the important things that I'll talk about next is goal 3, help students stay on the path. We've got some important efforts in place that are going to make sure that we're well positioned to make sure our students not only are on their path, but stay on their path and don't deviate from them. Before we get into that, though, let me talk a little bit about the mindset, the change in mindset that we might need to have here at the institution. So as a faculty member, former faculty member, I always understood that my course, I taught computers, was the most important course that student was going to take at the college. And not only was it the most important one, but it was really the only course that they were taking at the time. So everything was structured around my course. We need to step back from that mentality a little bit and begin to look more holistically. So we want to look at these as programs that students take, not a collection of courses that students take. Even if that collection of courses is in a degree plan, we want to make sure that they're all tied together in some cohesive way, some structured way, so that students going through the program get an increasingly leveled up, a build-up of courses and competencies as they go through the program. And of course, our students' two main goals, as you see up here, one is to enter a four-year university and transfer with as many credits as they can take from EPCC, hopefully all of them, or to enter the workforce and begin to earn a living wage and a wage that'll support their families. The good news is that we've already laid the foundation. Many of you have been involved in a lot of these initiatives up there. By the way, we couldn't fit all of the initiatives up there, so if yours is missing, please don't take exception. This is a sampling of things that you have done over the past number of years to position us to be ready, to be poised for the Pathways Project. Each of these initiatives has had great success in addressing the pockets of students that the initiative was designed to serve. Now we want to scale that. How do we take all the lessons that we learned from things like the Math Emporiums, the Faculty Data Research Team, our dual credit early colleges, all those successful things that we're doing, how do we scale that to everybody now? So in addition to all of these wonderful things that we've been doing, a lot of the work for Pathways is done in the sense that we've already got a new streamlined core curriculum. We did that a couple of years ago. And although it was a state mandate, we've successfully reduced most of our program offerings to 60 credit hours, eliminating what could have been extraneous hours that may have been included in some of our programs. All of these things taken together position us well to do this important work. So as I said earlier, it's going to take all of us, and here's some things that we're going to have to think about over this next year or so as we do this work. Curriculum redesigning and mapping I'll talk about in just a minute. The faculty and coordinators have already been tasked with doing the important work of things we call program mapping, and I'll share a little bit more about that. We will reach out to many of the departments here at the institution to help us with that mapping effort. Each of your areas will play a role. Number two, career services and new student orientation. We're really excited about what's happening in those areas. Career services will be front and center for those students that say, I don't know what I want to major in. And of course, new student orientation is being revamped. We're really excited about what that's starting to look like. Counseling and advising, of course, very key. But then some other areas that maybe aren't as obvious. So technology areas, for example. So we're implementing software tools that will help us do this important work. So things like the Civitas predictive analytics software. We will be rolling it out. We've rolled it out for coordinators. We'll roll it out for other key constituents to begin to help us understand the behaviors and needs of our students moving forward. We're also implementing scheduling software called Ad Astra. It will mine our student data, where they are, what their declared majors are, and then help us inform ourselves about what courses should be offered, when they should be offered them, how many sections of each course should be offered, and where they should be offered. I mentioned before being intrusive or making sure students are on the right path and stay on the right path. We've also implemented early alert. And this fall, we've rolled it out district-wide for all the first-time in college students. So if you're teaching a first-time in college student in one of your classes, you have access to the early alert system, and we urge you to make use of that. So by identifying students that are struggling early, maybe there's an attendance issue, maybe their test scores aren't up to snuff, we've implemented DropGuard, which is really easy to use software that'll let you log in and simply flag a student and send a notice to an advisor that says, hey, Steve's struggling in his class. Can you identify some resources that might be able to help him and connect him with those resources at the institution? So we look forward to those exciting developments. Things like the facilities and master planning, you'll hear a lot about that in just a few minutes from our president. But as we begin to do that programming, that planning for what the new construction is going to hold, we need to keep in mind that we need to look at it through a lens that's focused on student success and the Pathways Project. So we want to make sure that students have the facilities, the classrooms, the faculty offices and other offices that we need to make sure they can get through effectively and efficiently. So faculty have been asked to do an exercise called program mapping. And we've rolled out something exciting called Maps by May. And what that is it's every one of the coordinators and faculty disciplines are going to look at their programs and flesh out a detailed structure surrounding their programs. And they will identify in writing all of the things that have to happen along the way in their programs. Things like, are there any entrance requirements for their programs? Things like, are there equipment or supplies that the student needs to purchase in order to enter the program? Are there embedded certificates, and at what points do we award those embedded certificates along the way? Are there industry examinations or certifications available or required when they get through the program? One thing to keep in mind as we move through is that these are programs, pathways, not prisons. So as we begin to look at the program maps and we begin to identify courses that we call the preferred courses that students can take, so if there's an option of, say, the science courses that a student has to take, but they can choose from a list of them, we'll identify some of them as preferred courses. Well, if they happen to have taken one of the other courses on the list that's not the preferred course, they will still, of course, get credit for the program that way. So we're not going to lock them in, but where they're not sure what they should take, we're going to identify the courses for them. And so faculty have been assigned this task, and I do want to point out that for those of you working on or doing this important work, that all of the documents that are required to help you with this process are linked off of the Vice President of Instruction webpage. So the graphic there shows you where to go. There's a separate tab for the Pathways project. All of the documents, the sample maps, the templates, everything is out there on the website. We will continue to support you as you do that important work. And as we presented during Faculty Development Week, we will have several mid-course meetings to answer any questions and help you complete the work. And so along those lines, write these down. We'll, of course, get these out to you. We've scheduled 2 additional Pathways meetings for those coordinators and others that are doing the work. So later this fall, we're going to gather on Tuesday, November 1st. In the spring, set aside Wednesday, March 22nd, both from noon to 5. We'll serve you some lunch. We'll answer all your questions. In addition to these 2 dates, during the Spring Faculty Development Week, we're inviting in some additional Pathways speakers. So there will be sessions during the Faculty Development Week to help reinforce and encourage us to complete this work. And we're hoping to bring Mr. Rob Johnstone in. He's a really dynamic speaker, and if you've ever had a chance to hear him, you're in for a real treat. One final thing related to the program maps and the Pathways project. One of the missing pieces that we have at the institution is a common first semester for loosely defined majors. So maybe a student doesn't know what they want to be when they come in, but they know they want to be in the health field. They don't know if they want to be a nurse or an LVN or a respiratory care therapist or what have you, but they know they want to be in a healthcare setting. Well, we're going to set up what are called meta majors. You see up on the screen a STEM meta major. So ideally, we will set up these broad categories of degrees. I don't know how many there will be. I'll speak with the curriculum committee at their first meeting and begin to do this work together. But each one of our majors, each one of our degree programs will fall into one of these meta majors. So students that are a little bit on the fence but have kind of an inkling about what they want to be can declare the meta major with the notion that ideally we have at least the first semester in common, so that as they make their choices and refine their program of study, they don't lose any credits by having taken something they shouldn't have by declaring the wrong major initially. And so we will begin this work of setting up the meta majors this fall, and we'll ask the curriculum committee to help us with that work. So in the past, I've taken this opportunity to ask faculty to perform some challenge. This time, I'm going to challenge everybody. I know that's a big liberty I'm taking, so please bear with me. we're all in this together. We're all focused on the same thing, whether you're the accounts payable person in a back office somewhere, registrar on the front line, a faculty member in the classroom, an administrator doing the work that they do as administrators, whatever that is. I'm not sure what we do. We're all doing the same work. We're all here for the students. And so I want you to consider, how are we helping our students along the way? For faculty, I'm going to ask you to provide regular feedback along the way. As we do focus groups and we talk to students, one of the things that they struggle with a lot is they tell us they don't know how they're doing in their courses. And you could say, well, it should be pretty obvious. It's in the syllabus, the grading scale's right there. The fact is that many of them don't know where they are in your class. And so the more feedback that we can provide, the better. So I'm going to ask you to consider that as you move forward and give regular feedback to students on their progress. I'm going to ask all of us, including myself, to begin to research other support services and other resources that we have at the institution. We're our biggest ambassadors. I'm sure all of us have been in the store, and maybe we've got a logo shirt on or something, and somebody comes up to us and says, oh, you work at EPCC. Well, I really wanted to go this semester, but something got in the way, and it's our job, all of our jobs, to begin the recruitment process with that student. We want to help them along the way and ease their path into the institution. It's a big, scary place to some people. If you've never stepped foot on a college campus, it can be really intimidating for a lot of people. And we want to ease that. And one way that we can do that is to familiarize ourselves with all of the other services that we provide that may fall outside of the areas in which we work. All of us, we want to help our students navigate through the programs, engage with our students, and make sure that they know, the last bullet, that they're part of a great institution, as are we. Talk about just a couple of interesting initiatives at the institution. So you may hear some acronyms and some things that you haven't heard before. So one of the things that we're starting through our involvement with Achieving the Dream, we're part of a Texas cadre of institutions that are looking at developing curriculum surrounding open educational resources. So we know, having been students, how expensive school is, how expensive textbooks are. Well, there's a huge amount of resources out there now that we can write our curriculum around, where maybe we don't need to buy a textbook. If we can package the knowledge that we want our students to gain and the readings we want them to do, et cetera, in a form that's already readily available and juried, for that matter, maybe we can do that. So we've thrown our hat in the ring with these other institutions that you see up here. And we've begun the process of developing an entire degree surrounding open educational resources. So our generic Associate of Arts degree, we will be focusing on developing these over the next year or so. So as you see at the bottom of the slide here, we've already committed as an institution to develop 5 open educational resource courses. And the other cadre institutes are also developing a number of them. So collectively, we will have developed all of the courses necessary in order for a student to complete a degree using only open educational resources. These courses will be developed over the next year, year and a half or so. And in the middle, what you'll see is we're going to solicit reviewers for OER courses. So while we're developing our 5, the other cadre institutions will be developing their courses, but whichever courses they're developing, we will put an evaluator on a team to look at the course. And the courses that we're developing, the other cadre institutes will put an evaluator on to vet our courses as well. The grant supports a little bit of remuneration for this, so you'll have the opportunity for a little fee to get paid. I'll tell you more about how to get involved in just a second, but I do want to recognize Dr. Julie Penley for stepping in and taking the reins of this initiative, as our own dear Dean Claude Mathis departed not too recently to Mexico, just for the record. Not permanently, just, yeah. So Julie, thank you for stepping in. Julie will be sending out solicitations for those of you that might be interested in serving as reviewers for the other courses that will be developed over the next year or so. So look to your emails to see these solicitations in the next few minutes. So that's one of the initiatives. I do want to do a little bragging. Some of the things that, there's obviously not enough time for me to brag about everything we do. We'd be here all day. But I do want to take just a selected group of things and talk about some things that maybe a lot of us aren't familiar with. So a little over a year, about 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to begin working with the workforce area of the institution. They do phenomenal work. It's an exciting team. For those of you that are here in the auditorium, they're sitting over here, some of them in their blue shirts over there. They really do incredible work. And I found out things that I didn't know we did and had been doing for a very long time. So one of those things, and maybe at each one of these down the road we'll share a couple of others. One of the things is our Small Business Development Center. Many of you may not know that we have a Small Business Development Center here. It's incredibly successful. There are 10 of them throughout Texas, and we're ranked number 3, which is kudos to all of us. But you see some numbers up on the screen. How many clients served? How many long-term businesses created? How many jobs created or retained by our SBDC? I do want to point out one number, the third from the bottom, $14,880,000. That's the impact that our SBDC has economically on the region. That's huge. That's the jobs created. That's the businesses established. That's the wages that were increased because of the training done there. Over 2,600 attendees at various events that the SBDC does. So how about a big round of applause for our Small Business Development Center. And you saw Joe Ferguson. I didn't mention his name, but that's the handsome gentleman standing up there. He's in charge of the Small Business Development Center, doing great work over there. Those of you at VV, I don't need to tell you about the construction happening there. Bear with us. It's exciting. It's going up quickly, but we are building an architecture facility at the Valle Verde campus. And that's not a rendering. That top picture is not a rendering. That's actually one of the current photos of the construction that's happening at the Valle Verde campus. The rendering is on the bottom, both that left one and right one. That's what it's going to look like when it's finished. It will be an incredibly beautiful building. A lot of glass, a lot of open spaces. It will be something for all of us to be very proud of for many years to come. But what we're more proud of is the intent. So way back, several of the administrators got together with their Texas Tech counterparts and got a grant to build this building, but more importantly, to create a pathway for 2-year students to get an architecture degree through a 4-year school. Actually, it's a 5-year program. So we partnered with Texas Tech, and the real intent is to increase the number of minorities entering into architecture fields. Not only create more opportunities for them, but to create seamless pathways between us and Texas Tech. And as you can see up there, we've already had a number of 8 successful graduating classes from Texas Tech. The scheduled completion date, as you can see up there, is February 2017. I want to announce some administrative changes in our division. Some of you, I'm sure, already know about these. You just saw Julie talk about all of the wonderful areas that she now currently oversees. I also want to recognize Dr. Jaime Farias, who is our new Associate Vice President for Workforce and Continuing Education. Congratulations, Dr. Farias. Some of the areas that Dr. Farias oversees now are all of the CE directors, all of the workforce programs, the Small Business Development Center, the Advanced Technology Center, customized training, our Center for Corporate and Workforce Training, the Center for College Access and Development. So that's just some of them. So both Dr. Farias and Dr. Penley have pretty big roles. Thank you. Congratulations to you both. Last time I talked at the town halls and brown bags and other things that we've had an opportunity to meet at. about a change in role for Dean Tony Badillo, who now serves as our Dean of Dual Credit and Early College High Schools. That, of course, left a vacuum, as did Julie's departure from Mission, Claude's departure at Via Verde. And so stepping in for those two roles is Dr. Carlos Amaya stepping in for Dr. Farias at VV, and Mr. Blaine Primizic stepping in for Dean Claude Mathis at VV as well. So congratulations to those two individuals. And now the ones for Dr. Frias and Dr. Penley. So with their new roles, of course, that's created opportunities at the other two campuses. And so we've created interim positions and staffed those. Congratulations to the interim deans, Dr. Cristina Gonzalez, who takes over for Dr. Farias, and Mr. Joshua Villalobos that takes over for Dr. Penley. So congratulations to them. We will be staffing those positions over the course of this fall. Couple more things. I do want to thank everybody who is responsible for Faculty Development Week that kicked off the start of this semester, as well as many of the activities going on today. Thank you so much for the efforts that you do, the number of sessions, incredible number of faculty development sessions held that week. Thank you to those of you on the screen there. And then last but not least, thanks to each of you for all of the work that you do. And again, there's that pathway motif. So we look forward to working with all of you on the AACC Pathways project as we complete that work over the next year. With that, I've taken way more of my time than I should have. I'd like to introduce our college president, the one you really came to see, Dr. William Serrata at this time.
Well, good afternoon and welcome. As we get set up with the presentation, let me say I left South Texas just over 4 years ago thinking I'd never have to hear about hurricanes again. And here we are in far west Texas, and we're dealing with the remnants of a hurricane. So I saw many of you all that were with your umbrellas. I do what I'm told. My wife tells me to have an umbrella, so it is safely tucked away in my Tahoe. So I'm not wet because I haven't gone outside yet. So fortunately, I didn't get wet, but I saw several of you all as I was walking over here coming in with umbrellas, and so certainly appreciate that. So I do welcome you to the fall of 2016. I've said this when I spoke to the faculty last month, that as an undergraduate, the semesters went so slow. And then I started working in higher ed, and they go so fast. In the blink of an eye, a new class is coming in. We get to touch thousands and thousands of student lives every day, and that's a tribute to each and every one of you. So it's my privilege to do this for the 5th time. It's such a wonderful opportunity to be able to provide an update to all of our faculty and staff, administrators, everyone at the institution of where we are as an institution, as a college, and where we're headed. So let me begin that. So again, welcome to each and every one of you. Certainly excited about this, again, the fall of 2016. It's my privilege to welcome you on behalf of the Board of Trustees, to welcome each and every one of our faculty and staff, those of you all that are here in person at the ASC, those of you that are in the boardroom, that is the overflow room, which, by the way, there's no overflow. There's plenty of room up front, and it's not church. We will not be taking a collection. So there's lots of room up front. Come up, to the front. Let me also thank, it is my understanding that Mr. Uxer, one of our board members, is in the audience. So let me thank Mr. Uxer for taking time out of his busy schedule to be here and to be a part of this, our Professional Development Day. I haven't seen you, Mr. Uxer, but welcome. And let me also say, as I go forward with the presentation's amazing aesthetically. The things that Rachel Viramontes is able to do on PowerPoint is absolutely amazing. So the presentation is perfect. If there's anything that's wrong with the presentation, that's my fault. But as far as everything that goes forward, it's just another amazing presentation. Before we discuss where we are and where we're headed, it's important that we take a look back at what's been accomplished over this last year. And these are just some of the amazing accomplishments that you have led at the institution. As Mr. Smith stated, and thank you for the introduction, Mr. Smith, we continue to be focused on EPCC. We continue to be focused on engagement at all levels of the institution, in particular faculty-student engagement. Our students that connect with our amazing faculty, if they connect with those faculty, they're going to be successful. The data is overwhelming with regards to student engagement and faculty-student interaction. We're going to continue to focus on partnerships and pathways. We know we can't do it alone, so we're going to continue to focus on partnering with everyone in the community, obviously with UTEP, with our 12 independent school districts, with philanthropy, with our delegation, our legislative delegation that I'll touch on shortly. But we're also going to focus on creating those pathways for students so that those pathways become clearer and clearer for them. And that by the time we finish these pathways projects, institutes, every single student will be on a path, a default path for that student, regardless of the type of student. You think about the gamut of students that we serve: full-time students, part-time students, day students, night students, online students, weekend students, dual credit students. All of those students will be on a pathway. So we're going to focus on partnerships and pathways. Creating that college-going culture is immensely important. I'll share with you that Commissioner Paredes was here just a couple of weeks ago, and he spoke to the recovery from the Great Recession. The height of the Great Recession affected us in 2011 when our unemployment rate was approximately 11%. And he's talked about the 11.6 million jobs that have been created since the depths of the Great Recession. 11.5 million of those jobs went to people with degrees and certificates. Only 80,000 jobs went to people with a high school diploma or less. It is imperative that we get students on to creating that college-going culture. It is essentially the only pathway to the middle class. And then finally, completion. You don't reap the benefits of higher ed unless you complete. So we've continued to focus on those particular areas, and this focus has yielded tremendous results. And we need to, it merits review. So let's begin with students and the achievements that our students have had. All 6 of our athletic teams, they're not only champions on the track and field, they're champions in the classrooms. Kudos to our athletic director, Felix Hinojosa, and all of our coaches, our staff, our counselors, our faculty that work with our particular athletes. You see the GPAs that they've achieved, in addition to being athletes. So they are incredible. All 6 teams have been recognized for their academic performance. It's the first time in the institution's history you have 30 student athletes that have a 3.25 GPA or higher. Some standout athletes that we absolutely have to mention. So what you see here is Taylor Putman, who she has the pinnacle academic excellence of a 4.0. She's the first student athlete in our history to earn a 4.0 GPA for 2 years in a row. You see our superior academic excellence of a 3.85 that Kirk Cormier, our baseball player, achieved. And then you see exemplary academic excellence of a 3.78 that Kayla Payares, I hope I'm getting it right, a cross-country and half marathon. You see what these particular athletes that deserve additional mention on the incredible academic achievements, again, champions not only on the track and field, but in the classroom. Let's continue with that vein. Dr. Paula Mitchell and many of the programs that are within that particular division at the Rio Grande campus continue to do. These are 100% pass rates. These are not easy exams. These are incredibly rigorous and difficult exams. And yet, Cynthia Rivera and the surgical tech program, as well as the program faculty, achieved 100% pass rate. Dr. Deborah Tomaselli Brock, our physical therapy assistant, and the program faculty, 100% pass rate. Ms. Christy Thompson in our medical imaging radiography program, that's a mouthful, and the program faculty, 100% pass rate. Amazing achievements on, again, what are incredibly difficult exams. So incredibly proud of all the work that they have done. Ms. Itzel Tejada, an incredible student that is only achieving the level of academic success because of the engagement that she has with faculty members, in particular, Mr. Brian Kirby, who not only was her English faculty member, but was also the Phi Theta Kappa advisor when she has been a member of that. You see that she received a $40,000 scholarship. It's the Jack Kent Cook Scholarship, one of the most prestigious community college transfer scholarships in the nation, one of 75 awarded nationally. Our students only achieve these types of academic achievements and success due to the engagement that they have with our faculty and staff. You see her quotes. You see the kinds of things that she speaks to and the importance of the college. You see also Mr. Kirby's quotes and how he speaks to how hard she worked. What he doesn't touch on is how hard he worked with her and how he prepared her and how he helped her with regards to the application, with regards to the different clubs and organizations that she was a member of. This is the epitome of faculty-student engagement and how successful our students can be when they connect with great faculty members at the institution. The Lois Stokes Alliance Minority Program Awards. We have 200 student applications, 9 students were selected, and 4 of those students were STEM students selected from El Paso Community College. You see them there. You see the different names of our particular students that are recognized by receiving this prestigious award. Again, these are the kinds of awards that our students are capable of with the right leadership and the right guidance from our amazing faculty and staff. Mr. Keith Townsend, I haven't seen Mr. Townsend yet, but he and his colleagues continue to facilitate the talent of our students, talent that is recognized nationally with those, just a sampling of the national awards and sweepstakes that they have won, competing with not just community colleges, but with universities from throughout the nation. He was also received the Colley Taylor Fellowship Award for an outstanding coach. Our forensics team and the coaches and faculty continue to do an amazing job. You see the accolades that they continue to pile up over and over again, competing with all different types of colleges and universities nationally. Our foundation, Dr. Dolores Gross, the foundation board, deserves special kudos for working with the Hunt Family Foundation and being able to garner $500,000 of scholarships specific for students graduating from Isleta High School. Mr. Hunt is a Isleta High School graduate, so has a special place in his heart. And this was the first year that they said we were going to focus on students that are going to attend El Paso Community College. 10 students annually will receive $5,000 scholarships, 10 of the high school graduating class of Isleta High School for the next 10 years. So you're looking at a $500,000 commitment to facilitate student success. So kudos to Dolores and her colleagues. Let's talk about our faculty and staff. Our faculty and staff continue to do amazing things. Commencement's the culmination of what our faculty lead in the classroom. Our faculty award winners are the 3 that were chosen to carry the mace, the academic mace, to lead our 3 ceremonies. Dr. Christian Servin, Virginia Madrid, and Michelle Conklin led our faculty as they walked out on stage in full regalia carrying the academic mace to lead our commencement ceremonies. So many kudos to them. You heard about Interim Dean Joshua Villalobos. As a faculty member, he received the 2016 Biggs Award from the Geological Society of America. So congratulations to Dean Villalobos for that amazing accomplishment. Certainly proud of that as well. Our staff, our employees of the year. Kudos to our staff who continue to do a great job. Mr. James Heine from our marketing, he's a professional staff member of the year. Mayra Cordero Villalobos is our environmental specialist as a classified staff member of the year. And Juan Adame, our audiovisual assistant, he was our classified staff part-time employee of the year. Again, amazing accomplishments and commitment to facilitating student success in all that they do. Our 2016 NISOD Excellence Award winners. You see them there. Everyone in that picture, save me, is a NISOD Award winner for this year. So you see Mr. Smith, who received the award from our office, Dr. Juan Pacheco. You see Dr. Christian Servin again, Miss Virginia Madrid, and Miss Michelle Conklin, who is not in that photo, but all of them are our 2016 NISOT Award winners. We look forward to the 2017 award winners of our faculty and staff. Our adjunct faculty, 40% of our sections are taught by adjunct faculty. So we want to make sure that we continue not only to provide professional development opportunities, but recognition for our amazing adjunct faculty awards as well. And you see Robert Moreno from chemistry, Angela Morgan Thornton from music, and Catherine Whipple from nursing, which were our adjunct faculty members. Congratulations to each of them for the amazing work that they do with our students as well. Vice President Shaughnessy and the entire financial operations team, 20 consecutive years that they have received the Excellence in Financial Reporting Award. No small feat to do it once, but to do it 20 times in a row is an amazing accomplishment. So many kudos to Vice President Shaughnessy, Mr. Flores, all of the respective staff that worked so hard on that. Congratulations. Dr. Paula Mitchell. Dr. Paula Mitchell, so I guess you may have brought the rains and the somewhat of the hurricanes with you. She was in Baton Rouge when they were getting lots and lots of rain recently, and she was there because she was there to be elected as one of 4 national vice commanders-in-chief for the Military Order of the World Wars. What an amazing veteran, what an amazing administrator and dean. So congratulations to you for being one of 4 nationally to have that award. Congratulations. We look forward to your contributions to that. Yeah, well done. Despite the rains, we do live in the desert, and therefore we want to make sure that we conserve as much as we absolutely can. And so kudos to Rick Lobato, to Raul Lucero, to Dr. Gertrude Coinings-Duden, and to Myra Cordero Villalobos, among many others who received the Water Conservation Hero Award for the work that was done at the Trans Mountain campus. So well done to each of you all, and continue to make sure that we're green and that we make our resources last as long as possible. Our officers keep us safe daily. Kudos to our officer and the officer instructor certification. This is certification that's required for them to be able to do the work that they do on our respective campuses. Many kudos to and congratulations to Lieutenant Mike Guzman, to Officer 2 Adalberto Soto, for leading this particular program to ensure the certification with regards to cycling on our respective campuses and to continue to keep our students, our faculty, and staff safe on a daily basis is incredibly important, in particular as we continue to prepare for Campus Carry beginning in August of next year. There is a legislative session that is in between now and then. I do not have high hopes that particular legislation will be changed. There will be some clarifications, as I'm sure each of you all has seen lots and lots of activity from UT Austin. Regardless, we will go forward and implement the law, and our officers will be key to that, ensuring their training and certifications is paramount to that. Let's talk about our engagement. Part of the partnerships that we have at El Paso Community College include our commitment to our community and being a part of our community on a wide-scale level. So let's talk about service learning. Ms. Patricia Islas and Dr. Noemi Weissman and the kind of work, and you see the data there and how much service learning is provided. These are our students providing community service as part of their learning, part of their grade, in particular courses that they are taught. You see the number of hours and the dollar amount that is provided by volunteering our community. We're not only providing the formal education, but we're also providing the tools and the skills and the training to ensure that our students and ultimately our graduates are good members and productive members of our respective community. So lots of kudos for leading the service learning program. Dr. Ron Stroud. Dr. Stroud, thank you and your team for your work to ensure that we continue to be the #1 blood donor in the region. Yes, you see the blood dripping there, and I don't look too closely because, Dr. Stroud, I know you don't get mine because the last time I gave blood, I passed out. So I don't want that happening again. Now, mind you, I was probably 40 pounds lighter, but I'm still, if anyone in the room needs it, I'm the universal donor O positive. So if one of you all needs it, I'll chance passing out, as well as my family members. But what you see is our commitment. So kudos, Dr. Stroud, to your team for ensuring that we continue to give back literally the gift of life. So we asked Viva El Paso, the Communities Foundation of El Paso, came and asked if we were willing to take this on. And so we asked Mr. Townsend and his team, are you willing to take this on? Dean Claude Mathis, many others who were very involved in this, and they agreed to not only take it on, but to take it on in a very short time frame. So the forensics team took over. Viva El Paso, our EPC students were prominently featured, and you see the times saying adding to the show in the first time were live mariachi who perform on stage with the cast throughout the whole time. Viva El Paso, and you see the great kudos that we received from the respective El Paso Times. So kudos to Mr. Townsend and his team for taking it over in a very short time frame, not having a whole lot of time to prep, putting together a show in 5 weeks, which would normally take 12 weeks, and not only doing it, but doing it where they receive accolades from the Times. And we look forward to this partnership continuing and being able to feature the talent of the college and our students. Ms. Soraya Hajar and the participating faculty that worked on the Texas Workforce Commission Governor's STEM Summer Merit Camp. They received a $100,000 grant award to be able to increase STEM student interest. And you see that our students not only did it, but they did tremendously. I was there for the last day when they were showing the different projects, the different experiments that they were covering, and when they all received an iPad, which was pretty impressive as well. But kudos to them for not only cultivating a college-going culture, but getting these students interested in being STEM majors. We know the relationship and how these are high-tech, high-paying jobs. So being able to get these students while they're still in middle and high school interested in STEM. So congratulations, Soraya, for the great work. The Association of Women in Community Colleges. This is another tremendous program that is led by our particular staff and faculty. You see Dr. Rebecca Escamilla, you see Elizabeth Acosta, and you see Margin Nelson Rodriguez, who have continued to work on this, the scholarship reception that was held at the Rio Grande campus in May of this year. Tremendously giving back again to our particular student body and being able to find the financial resources for them to be able to receive scholarships. So many kudos to each of you all for your commitment to our students. Let's talk about the programs, projects, and initiatives that we continue to work on. By now, I'm sure everyone has heard about 4DX, or the 4 disciplines of execution. You know what the disciplines are in those respective four areas of focus. Focusing on the wildly important, creating a compelling scoreboard, creating that cadence of accountability. You see those particular areas. We have many teams that are working on this throughout the college. We just began this in January. We're already starting to see tremendous results from us focusing on the wildly important, trying to execute that despite the whirlwind of what occurs in our respective areas every day. As you heard earlier, Brian Ritchie, he will be back on Monday, September 19th. Brian Ritchie is our coach who has continued to help us with the 4 disciplines of execution and our implementation at El Paso Community College. So what are the WIGs? The WIGs were to increase the number of degrees and certificates from 4,077 that we awarded in 2015 to 5,000 degrees and certificate by August of 2017. The reason we didn't start with 16 is because we were already halfway through the year. We started this project in January, so we had already seen a semester go. I will share with you just later in the presentation the amazing results we're seeing there already. The second WIG was to increase enrollment. So really that's what we're focused on. Those are the 2 wildly important goals: the number of degrees and certificates that we award, and increasing that college-going culture via participation in higher ed, our enrollment. and we wanted to go from 28,450 to about 29,304. These are fluid numbers. We continue to add to mini-mesters, and we continue to add to the second mini of students that are enrolling still for the fall term. But I'll share with you just in just a few slides where we are and how we're continuing to see great results there. Once we get our students, then we want to make sure that we retain our students. We want to make sure that we facilitate their success by continuing to raise the bar, by continuing to provide support outside of the classroom to complement the great work that occurs in the classroom. And so the Early Alert program was launched in the spring of 2015. Sandra Lujan deserves a tremendous amount of credit for being the point person and the leader of this. Our counselors and advisors, as well as our faculty, continue to work on this particular expansion now. After 1 year of implementation, they saw a 2% reduction in academic probation and a 2% improvement in retention. Every 1% is a massive amount of improvement for the institution. So with the pilot to increase 2% in retention, we're certainly excited about that. She is now working with that team to bring forward a case management approach applied to all FTIC students and to continue to move this particular project forward. And we received great news to help with this. So last year, so go back to 2015, we submitted a Title V grant. So Mr. Lawrence in the grants office, along with Sandra Lujan, Abraham Hubal, Charles Simeon, they all worked on this particular grant in 2015, and we received feedback that we weren't able to get the grant in 2015, but they were very impressed with what we had submitted. So additional funding became available in 2016, and we were not, I'm trying to choose my words wisely, we were alerted that we had received $2.5 million to expand the Early Alert program. So over the next 5 years, a little over $500,000 a year to be able to expand this program. So we've seen the preliminary results. We're excited about those results, and now we have additional resources to expand those. Congratulations to each of you all. We look forward to our results even getting better and better. Lucy Michael has taken over Achieving the Dream for us and has done a great job. Many kudos to Dr. Lydia Tena, who had been the point person and the liaison on Achieving the Dream for many, many years at El Paso Community College. Ms. Lucy Michael is taking over Achieving the Dream and has continued to do a tremendous job for the college. We're one of the original 26 institutions that was selected back in 2004 to participate in Achieving the Dream. We've received leader status, and we continue to receive leader status. We've had this now for another 3 years, and we continue to move forward by really focusing on facilitating student success, by using data to facilitating student success. Our coaches, Dr. Diane Troyer, former faculty member that was at El Paso Community Colleges, one of the founding faculty members, is our coach, as is Dr. Jan Lydon, who's our data coach. So they will be here later this semester, September 27th and 28th, to continue to push us to reach even greater heights of student success. So kudos to Lucy and the team for all that great work. Ms. Chen and Ms. Gomez, along with Lucia Rodriguez, free online tutoring. This is a tremendous initiative to be able to facilitate student success. You'll see later in the presentation how many online enrollments we now have and how many students are taking online courses. We want to make sure that we provide a virtual opportunity for them to receive services that they may receive in person, and tutoring is part of that. And so you see that this is an initiative that was brought forward. Again, kudos to those three for the great work that they're doing in ensuring that online students from 8 a.m. till 10:30 p.m. have access to online tutoring. So well done, and kudos for finding another way to facilitate student success. The new Mathways project. Again, this is being led by Lucy Michael and colleagues in mathematics, of being able to offer students additional paths for math courses. Not everyone has to take college algebra. College algebra is a precursor for calculus, which we know is going to be in the STEM fields. Well, not all of our students are choosing STEM majors. So we need to be able to provide math courses that are related to other majors. And so really that's what the new Mathways project out of the Dana Center at the University of Texas at Austin, all 50 community colleges are working on this. The key now, and we have a great relationship with UTEP, so we're ensuring that those courses transfer right into the different programs at the University of Texas at El Paso. But the key in other parts of the state is to ensure that the universities accept these different math courses and don't default that everyone had to have college algebra. So we're providing additional opportunities for students to do that. You see the results. Now, we were limited based on a blind study of how many students we could have. Now that that study is over, we look forward to expanding this rapidly because we see the great results that students are having with regards to success in these particular courses. Mr. Robert Aguilar, who created GPS. Now, you're going to have to tell the AACC Pathways project that you were Pathways before Pathways was cool, because you created the guided paths to success before AACC launched it. And you've seen great results, and we certainly appreciate the great work that you're doing on the GPS and helping our students be successful. Again, being able, it's completely student-driven. This is out of the Education 1300 course. You see the pilot with Reading 0307, and in the spring, the expansion of that, and continue doing to expand on this particular project. Another way, an initiative that was led by faculty to increase student success and to provide students with the tools that they need to be successful. So kudos to you and your colleagues. Ms. Jan Lockhart and the CSD staff, they really focus on the ability piece of students with disabilities. Let's focus on what our students can do and help them and provide the support again outside of the classroom so that those students can be successful. You see the total number of students that have been served, well over 1,600 students, nearly 1,700 students. You see the persistence rates that when we set the expectation, and we have high expectations for our students, provide the support that they may need, that students will rise to meet and exceed those expectations. And you see those particular persistence and retention rates that have essentially closed the gaps, if not outperformed other students at the institution. So kudos, Jan Lockhart and all the CSD staff, for your work with our students. Our Law Enforcement Academy. Again, I guess if we're going to have concealed weapons on campus, then we need to make sure that they're properly trained. And this is one of the venues that we have them going through. This is the Texas Peace Officer Program. They've maintained a 100% pass rate on the state licensing exam for the last 5 years. So many kudos to, you see the number of students that have completed the program since 1990. So in the last 25, 26 years, we've had over 1,800 that have completed that program. We continue to see an interest, and we want to make sure that everyone is properly trained, and not only trained, but being able to pass that particular exam. So kudos to all of the folks at the Law Enforcement Academy for the great work that they're working on this particular area. Project Hire. So Project Hire is, again, serving our students with special needs and being able to provide pathways beyond high school. Many of these students graduate from high school, and that's the terminal degree. They're not allowed to continue into higher education due to different ailments that they may be dealing with. And therefore, we wanted to provide, partnering with DARS, to be able to provide an avenue for these students to be able to come in and get a skill, learn a trade, being able to raise their earning potential beyond that of a high school diploma. And we've seen students that have focused again on the ability of these particular students and what they're able to achieve. Many kudos to Mr. Smith and Vice President Gonzalez and their respective teams that have put this forward. Dr. Graham from our Board of Trustees has been instrumental in being able to provide this, given her experience with the school district and understanding that these students, when they finish high school, many times they have no other path. Well, we're creating those pathways for all students in this community, and Project Hire is one of the ways that we're doing that. So thank you all for all of your great work. Another student union is complete. So the Trans Mountain Student Union, which looks absolutely amazing, has been completed. Again, Mr. Lobato and your team, Ms. Arvis Jones and our SGA officers, many thanks for all of your kudos. We will have a ribbon cutting ceremony, and that will be soon, sometime in the fall semester is my expectation. We look forward to that. I know that we're awaiting furniture, and I look forward to pushing our vendors, Mr. Gallardo, so that we get that furniture rather quickly so that we can house that and get our students to utilize the space. Remember, the data is overwhelming. If students stay on campus, their likelihood for success increases. The student union is another way for our students to stay on campus. So kudos to all of our staff that work diligently on completing that particular beautiful facility. Dr. Giron, Mr. Bob Jones, and all the distance learning faculty. Here's the data I was referring to. This is the second fastest growing segment of the enrollment. And it is a segment that students use by and large to augment their schedules. Our students are busy not because they want to be. Our students work not because they want to work, but they have to work. And so if they can take a class on campus and then supplement their schedule by taking a distance learning course, they're going to do that. And so you've seen this increase and up to over 10,000, nearly 10,800 seats of distance learning courses. And we continue to work with the support for these students, as you saw earlier, with the online tutoring so that we ensure that these students that are choosing to take courses online have the same success rates as our traditional students. We want to continue to monitor that. But again, being able to see a need, see a desire from our students, they're voting based on enrollment, and then being able to facilitate that. So many kudos to Dr. Giron, Mr. Bob Jones, their respective faculty, and the staff that enhances this particular area of the institution. Get your degree online. Again, you see other online institutions and what they profess. We have 7 associate degrees that you can receive completely online, 3 certificates that you can receive online. Many kudos to Mr. Smith, the deans, for being able to facilitate these options for students online. Mr. Jones, again, and the distance education team, the curriculum office, all of the disciplinary faculty for being able to see a niche of students and a desire from students, being able to meet that with what I'll profess is better quality than any other online program offered in the region. So certainly excited about being able to offer those. Early college, high schools, and dual credit. So let's talk briefly about those. We now have 9 early college high schools. Mr. Smith, Dean Tony Bedillo, and the instructional team, along with all the support areas and under Ms. Gonzalez's team, being able to work diligently. We take our time. We work hard on this. We plan these for a year. And we tell our partners at the ISDs, you want to do an early college high school, then we're going to do it the right way in El Paso. We're not just going to expand for the sake of expansion. We're going to expect that these early college high schools perform at the same level that the original 4 or 5 that we had at the institution. So there is a desire from our partners to expand early college high schools. What we ask is that they work with us together, along with Educate Texas and our colleagues there, Chris Coxon, John Fitzpatrick, and their respective teams, to ensure that these are planned diligently and that we make sure that we move these forward and that they continue to have the success rates that our other early college high schools have. So top high schools beating the odds. So let me just tell you a little bit about this. And by the way, these are 2 of our 9 early college high schools. There's over 26,000 high schools in the nation. Public high schools, 26,000 plus. Of those, 500 are selected. They qualify for the top high schools for beating the odds. Based on demographics is what they're looking at on beating the odds. They look at economically disadvantaged. They look at the makeup, the racial and ethnic makeup of these respective high schools. They look at are they first generation? Some of them first generation high school students as opposed to not only first generation college students. And 2 of our high schools, so think first 26,000 whittled down to 500. And of those, 2 of our early college high schools are in the top 60. 34th is Valle Verde. Early College High School, and then 58th is Mission Early College High School. Again, tremendous, and they remember these aren't just their high schools; these are our high schools. Yeah. These high schools belong to us as well. This is a partnership. By and large, those students receive so much instruction from our respective faculty, and they're on our campuses. So that's a kudo to us as well. Early College High School enrollment, as you can see, has continued to rise. Now over 2,200 students that are involved in early college high schools this fall. There is a real demand. We see not only us and our partners, but the legislature sees the benefit of this. And you saw that House Bill 505 in the last session essentially said that high schools could operate as early college high schools without the designation. My inclination is that will be tweaked, which I think is a good thing. But we see that our enrollment, we have 2,213 students that continue to rise to the expectation that our faculty sets for them. And here's one of the ways how. So I've always said 73%, the mathematicians in the room, you see that we've increased where I can safely say now 74% of our early college high school students actually receive their associate's degrees before they graduate from high school. The national average is 30%. Absolutely. This is a kudos to our institution and the work that you do. You see the number of graduates that we've had since we began our programs a decade ago. 1,881 graduates. Of those, more than a third are first generation. I've brought this to the attention of our institution as well as our partners. We're starting to see that we're getting closer to, we're at 62-38 now. We need to continue to ensure that we have a closer to 50-50 ratio of males and females. We're overrepresented. Our young ladies are doing tremendously. We need to make sure our young men continue to do tremendously as well. You see the GPAs that these students have. These students will rise to the expectation. And again, we did increase that number. So when a partner, one of our school districts says we want to do an early college high school, my statement to them is we look forward to partnering with you, but we expect you to increase from now 74% to let's get to 75%. Let's get to 80% of these students receiving their associate's degrees before they graduate from high school. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. And I've said there's parts of the state and nation that have more early college high school. There's no part of the state and nation that I'm familiar with that has more successful early college high schools. Dual credit. Dual credit is a college-going culture initiative. 80% of former dual credit students matriculate immediately into higher education. They then have a 90% success rate. So 60 by 30 Texas. If 80% go, 90% succeed, that gives you 72% that have the opportunity. That's the way you meet 60 by 30 Texas. So we've had a focus on increasing dual credit. Now, very different than dramatically increasing early college high schools. We want these students to get 10, 15 credit hours and then matriculate to EPCC. And Vice President Gonzalez and her team are working diligently. We continue to see more and more prior dual credit students matriculate immediately with EPCC. And then they perform. Again, on average, 90% success rate at our institution. So we've seen that increase. This is part of creating that college-going culture, of us ensuring that these students have an opportunity to receive some credit and then come into the institution as traditional students and help us with our student success points, course completions, graduation rates, successful transfer, and so forth. Speaking of which, enrollment and graduation rates, something that we continue to focus on. So creating that college-going culture despite a recovering and robust economy continues to pay dividends. So 4DX, a combination of 4DX, a combination of working hard to get those former dual credit students as well as traditional students to matriculate. Our first time in college students are up dramatically. Again, kudos to all the recruitment staff, to everyone in student services. But you see currently we're at 29,500, and actually it's 520 as of this morning. Students continuing to enroll in the second mini. So you see that as unemployment numbers peaked, our enrollment peaked. And employment started to get better and better. And what did we do? Our enrollment flattened and fell. And then we said, no, enough. We need, again, if 11.6 million jobs, 11.5 million went to people with degrees and certificates, we have to get more students into college and through college successfully. So I'm very happy to show that we're up to 29,520 students, despite unemployment being at historic lows in our region. So we need to continue to do that, and we're excited about the progress that we've made on that. Our commitment to our military continues. We're very proud of our affiliation with Fort Bliss, with this community being a high veteran community, many of our faculty and staff being prior military and veterans themselves. We thank you for your service, and we want to make sure that we provide an opportunity for soldiers, veterans, and their dependents to enroll at El Paso Community College. You see that active duty is down slightly, but you also see that and these are preliminary, this number will continue to rise again with second mini. But we on average serve right around 2,400 combination of active duty, veterans, and dependents at the institution. I will be very honest, this is going to be a point of contention as well in the legislature, in particular on the dependents, Hazelwood. And this is one that has been raised several times, the millions and millions of dollars that are being waived based on Hazelwood, in particular for dependents. So that will be a discussion at the legislature, but we will continue to support our men and women in uniform, our veterans and their respective dependents to receive their education at El Paso Community College. So you see since 2012, our graduation rate in single digits at 9.7%, now up to 14.2%. Remember that 30% of our students are full-time students. That's what goes into an IPEDS graduation count. First time, full-time in a fall semester. And that's 30% of our students. And they have to do it within 150% of degree of time, so within 3 years. So when you're a part-time student or you're working, and so you can only take so many courses and it takes you longer than 3 years to graduate, then you don't count. You're an early college high school student. You saw 1,881 graduates. They don't count as part of our graduation rate. But it is a number that continues to be utilized. So we're going to continue to focus on increasing both the raw number but also the graduation rate. And because of each of you all and the work that you've done, we have continued to see that increase. So we're now at 14.2%, 4.5% increase since 2012. You see some comparisons with some of the other large community colleges in the state. You see Lone Star at just under 10%. You see Austin at just under 4%. You see Tarrant at 13, a little over 13%. We will continue to focus on this, but we're really proud that we're headed in the absolute right direction and increasing that rate. Here's the raw number. So remember, we said our WIGs, that was WIG number 1. And we said that we were going to reach 5,000 by 2017. So this is the interim milestone, and that milestone is up to 4,622, the largest number of degrees and certificates that we've ever certified at the institution, over 13% increase from last year. So already we're well on our way to reaching that 5,000 goal. And this is, again, worked on by retention, by engagement with our faculty, by looking at our processes, by ensuring that we ensure students are challenged in the classroom and not in our processes. And graduation itself is a process. Lots of kudos to Mr. Smith, to the deans, to Vice President Gonzalez, to Dr. La Chica Chavez for the work that they've done in ensuring that automatic graduation, that we know when students are ready to graduate. Again, an increase of over 540 graduates from one year to the next. So certainly pleased and excited that that's ultimately the sign of success for our respective institution. CESI, we continue to focus on CESI. Community College Survey of Student Engagement. And it's a benchmark that we continue to look at. And some of the challenges that Mr. Smith has provided in the past has been to provide that feedback, because that's part of student-faculty engagement. You see 3 of the 5 benchmarks increased this past spring when we received the results. You see that active and collaborative learning increased. You see that student effort increased. And from my perspective, the most important one, student-faculty interaction, increased significantly. So kudos to all of our faculty members for reaching out and engaging our student. Kudos to our staff for encouraging that, to our counselors, advisors, our student services staff for encouraging students to reach out and to be engaged with their respective faculty members. Those data will pay dividends. I cannot present without bragging about our institution and the accomplishments that each and every one of you contributes to making this one of the best community colleges in the nation. You see that right in the middle of that. That was the 2015. We were one of the 10 finalists for the Aspen Award. By the way, we get to use that moniker forever because it does say 2015. Well, I want to win the award. We are very pleased that we were one of the 10 finalists. You see on there that we were the 2016 American Association of Community Colleges Student Success Award winner. That was awarded in April of this year. You see that we continue to be military friendly and a top military institution. You see that we continue to have Achieving the Dream Leader college status. And you see kudos to Ms. Chavez and others who worked on, both Ms. Chavez's, who worked on the Insight, the Excellence and Diversity. We've been told that we can now release this. This is the 4th year in a row that we are an Excellence and Diversity institution. Kudos to both of you and everyone else who worked on that. These are just some of the accolades that our institution has received. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the ones that are coming up. We were notified that we're the 2016 American Community College Association of Community College Trustee Western Region. We belong to the Western Region Equity Award winner, and we will find out next month in New Orleans if we are the National Award winner for equity and the results that we show with the students that we're privileged to serve. So you see that is coming up, another national recognition. Many of you all saw this when I went to the town halls. This was the cover of the February edition of Hispanic Outlook, a national magazine that shows El Paso Community College ranked first in the nation in awarding associate degrees to Hispanic students and first in the nation in Hispanic enrollment. We certainly have much to be proud of, and if we don't tell our story, no one else will. So we will continue to tell our story. Again, we shared this. This was the latest national award we received, and the graphics are amazing, Rachel. That's the actual award there that just popped down. But the commitment that each of you all has to facilitating student success was recognized by the American Association of Community Colleges. Remember, there's 1,200 community colleges, and out of those 1,200, we were selected as the award winner for student success. Many kudos to each of you all. What's next? Where are we headed? Where are we going? What does the road show for us? Budget is part of that road, and the budget is incredibly important. Vice President Shaughnessy, Mr. Flores, Ms. Diaz, and all their respective teams work diligently on this, along with our Board of Trustees. Our Board of Trustees voted to increase tuition significantly for this coming fall. And we've shown that despite the increase in tuition, we will see that increase in enrollment. We still are by far the best value in higher education in this region. Now, we are sensitive to that, and the board is incredibly sensitive to that, so we work on the budget as diligently as we can. Part of that is grants. So kudos to both VP Smith, VP Gonzalez, AVP Farias, Al Lawrence, and the grants team. You see that's $8.8 million of grants that we've received. You see the 11% in student services. You see 65% of those grants in academic instruction, 24% in workforce, totaling just under $8.8 million for that district total. This is important work. It allows us to continue to be innovative, to continue to provide different venues to facilitate student success. You see some of the listing of the rather large grants that we've received. They don't come easy. This is a lot of work from all of those team members, and certainly appreciate those to help supplement our respective budgets and to be able to provide additional resources to help our students. Dr. Gross and the foundation board, they are looking at facilitating and ensuring that students have access to resources to help them with the cost of higher education. So they distributed $213,000 for scholarships in 15-16. They've already committed $200,000 worth of scholarships for this fall. And they've developed over $215,000 of new scholarship funds in this prospective years with Wells Fargo, the Hospitals of Providence, JP Morgan Chase, and other partners. This is a tremendous effort. You see that over $2 million for student scholarships has been raised since the inception of the EPCC Foundation. Important work. I'll reference them and put in a plug later for the truck that you all need to buy tickets, but I'm going to win. So I look forward to you all buying those tickets. I'll plug that in just a moment. I'll tell you who gets the truck too if I win. This is our budget. We operate a $136.4 million budget. You see the breakdown of that respective budget. You see institutional support, instruction, research, all the areas of the budget. This is public information. This is our budget. This is transparent information of what we operate at our institution. And these are projected expenditures by function. These are the NACUBO standards. So Vice President Candelas, we know that your budget is slightly larger than $52,000, but this is the NACUBO standards of what actually goes into this. So for instance, these are the research grants that we receive from NSF, et cetera. That particular division is under both institutional support, part of it, and academic support, the other. So these are the NACUBO standards. This is the expenditures by expense category. So you'll see 77% of our budget. So almost 4/5 of our budget is salaries and benefits. So we run a very tight budget. So when folks talk about zero-based budgeting, well, salaries and benefits that's where you begin with. So it really is only 23% of the budget that you can actually look at zero-based budgeting. So this is where all the money goes. This is where we expect it to be expended over this year. This is a big part of what we look at and the economic engine that we are in this particular region of the state and nation. Let's talk about the legislature. So when it's a base year, it's also a legislative year. So our legislators, the second largest economy in the nation, state economy in the nation. Lieutenant Governor Patrick was here about 2 weeks ago. He's a proud Texan, as am I. He was talking about that we really are a nation state, that we operate the 12th largest budget in the world. If Texas was its own nation, that's how large our budget would be. But it's also going to be a very tough session, and it shouldn't be. It's a matter of priorities. We've continued to meet with our delegation, but let's talk about the reality of what's coming. So the reality of what's coming is this is the letter, and that's me on the ground, yes, another cut. So Rachel knows I'm follically challenged, and therefore that you have that person on the ground, but at least the paramedic's follically challenged as well. We received this letter from the big three, the governor, the lieutenant governor, and the speaker of the House, saying we need you to plan for a 4% cut this coming session. So 4% for us is over $1.5 million. So I want everyone to realize, and all of you all vote, and all of you all are constituents to our respective delegation, as well as to others outside of the state, our faculty association. You have constituency groups throughout the state, same with staff, et cetera. 4% is tremendous. That $1.5 million cut would be on top of the $3.2 million cut that we received last session when the state was flush with money. In 1984, 72% of our budget was state appropriations. Today, it's 23% and falling. I am incredibly appreciative to the state for the funds that we receive from the state. But if, again, let me repeat, if 11.5 million of the 11.6 million jobs went to people with degrees and certificates, then we need to invest in education. I was surprised and pleased that public schools did not receive this letter, only institutions of higher ed. There's more to it. Programs were also mentioned as receiving an additional 10% cut. So let me tell you what kind of programs. So the coordinating board runs several programs, including Texas Grant program, including TEOG, which is the community college version of Texas Grant. Those are programs. So if those are cut 10%, our students will suffer. So we've got to advocate for investing in higher education. There's no better investment than you'll see on the return on your investment if our legislator and our delegation invest in education. I'm sure many of you all saw a $1 billion appropriation request for border security. I've lived on the border my whole life. Brownsville, McAllen, now so pleased to be in El Paso. I've never felt unsafe on the border. I certainly have never felt $1 billion unsafe on the border. That's money, that's $1 billion that could fund education, that could ensure that we don't have to see a $1.5 million cut. So, and that's also money that's going to become institutionalized. Think about a legislator saying they want to cut criminal justice $1 billion. We've got to work hard and and again, we continue to say, I saw the congressman and others say that we're the safest large city in the nation, right here located on the border. These are certainly important, but you see that particular area, and hopefully my heart and your heart survives. This is really what it amounts to. We've presented to 5 of the 6 members of the El Paso delegation. We have a pending meeting with Chairman Pickett to meet with him and explain. This is probably the most prominent slide in the presentation that we provide to our delegation. What we did here was a snapshot of what our state appropriations looked at different times between 2001 and today, and projected of what it'll be in 2017 based on that 4% cut. So the purple bar is state appropriations, and the teal bar is enrollment. So if you look at the purple bar in 2001, when we had 18,000 students, we were receiving over $32 million in state appropriations. And let's go out to 2015, the fall of 15, where we had 28,700 students, so 10,000 more, and state appropriations was actually less. And based on our WIGs and increasing enrollment, we're going to see a 3% increase this year. The expectation is we see another 3% increase next year. So in the fall of 17, we will be serving almost 30,500 students. So 12,000 more students than we served back in 2001, and state appropriations will be $1.5 million less dollars. That's the reality. It's not any less expensive. It's not cheaper to educate a student with the demands on technology. Again, I've told our faculty, I remember when I said if I could only have a 386, I would be set. Yeah, our students don't even know what 386 means. You know, it's Pentium before Pentium was cool. It was the 286, 386, 486, and then the Pentiums. But the need for high technology infrastructure, for being able, it's not fast enough ever, our wireless, and it drops, and we don't ever want it to drop, and we want it to be as fast as possible. Those are not inexpensive tools. And so it doesn't cost less now for us to provide a quality education to over 30,000 students as it did to provide that 15 years ago for 18,000 students. It's just paramount. We're going to continue to be, and that's why tuition has increased. That's why taxes have increased. It's not that the rising cost of education, that's the part that's always left out, is the severe cuts to state appropriations in almost every state. The master plan. We will continue to move this institution forward. The work is too important. And so our master plan, a quick update on where we are. So given the interest rates, we worked with our financial advisor, and we're very happy to let everyone know we were initially in the town halls, I talked about $62 million of construction. Well, we're going to be able to do about twice that. I'm certainly excited about this. This is absolutely needed at each of our respective campuses. And so what we're going to do with ECM, who the board selected after the staff recommended ECM as our project manager, that is what we're going to add to each of our current campuses. In 2020, we will focus and ask our community, we're going to do this over the next 40 months, on budget, on time. And we're going to partner with them, Mr. Gallardo and Mr. Lobato and Vice President Shaughnessy, and several of our team members are going to work very closely with ECM to make sure that we're able to execute this. But you see that we're looking at adding 160,000 square feet to the Valle Verde campus, which is projected to grow by 9,000 students between 2012 and 2025. See, that's almost $44 million of new construction. The Mission campus, we're going to add 65,000 square feet of classroom and labs, as well as faculty offices. That's about $17.5 million. The Rio Grande campus, we're looking at adding 30,000 square feet in addition to an additional parking garage, as well as some renovation to the tune of just over $20 million. The Northwest campus, increasing that campus by 35,000 square feet. The Trans Mountain campus by 25,000 square feet. And yes, we know the board in particular, and Mr. Uxer, it will always ask us, is this what you really need for IT infrastructure, for wayfinding, and potentially land acquisition? So you see that we're putting approximately $7 million into those particular areas to take us over the next 40 months to build buildings that are highly needed in our respective campuses, including 20,000 square feet of workforce space at the Valle Verde campus, so that we can provide adequate equipment and space to be more competitive with some of the commercials that I don't care to see. And which, if you're going to pay $24,000 to $32,000 for that particular program, when at El Paso Community College you can receive the same degree or certificate for $6,800, then we are absolutely the best value in education. And this is what we're going to work on. You see almost $105 million of new construction at each of the existing 5 campuses, some at the ASC as well. When we complete that on budget, on time, then we will ask in 2020 for our voters to support the college with a general obligation bond to focus on Fort Bliss campus, to help additional work that's needed at the Rio Grande campus, and additional workforce programs. So we're going to focus on soldiers, nurses and first responders, and the workforce. And we will do that in 2020. Also, that is also 2019, our 50th anniversary, leading up to that ask of our particular voters, so that we can complete about $255 million of construction and renovation on building a 6th campus as well as our existing 5 campuses and centers. The strategic plan continues. The board has finalized that. We received lots of feedback from our faculty, staff, and administrators. The board took that feedback this summer during a retreat. They changed virtually nothing. They accepted most of what was submitted by our respective faculty and staff. We are going to put that into a nice glossy. We'll bring it back to the board for that final vote. And right when you think we're done with it, we start the process over. This is a continuous process. It's just like planning. We have to always know. If you don't know where you're headed, how do you know when you get there? So we will continue to plan, and in particular with the new construction, it'll be vital that that is a big part of the plan. Some announcements and updates. So those of you all, I'm sure the rain has stopped. I'm sure it's sunny and beautiful, and you're ready to finish with this particular presentation. So I'm just about there. I think it's important for me to get to the campuses. And I think it's important for all of Cabinet to get to the campuses as often as possible. I will be having coffee. These are not town halls. These are conversation. We'll do a town hall in the spring. But I really want to just get to the campus, have a cup of coffee, I'll treat, and talk about anything you want to talk about. And so we'll announce those, we'll get those out. They are informal. That's the goal, is that they're informal conversations and just having a cup of coffee. So those are coming soon. Mr. Silva brought this to our attention, and he's absolutely right, as well as many others who brought this to our attention. So November the 11th falls on a Friday, Veterans Day, and you will enjoy a 3-day weekend for that Veterans Day, absolutely. So I hope you enjoy that long weekend. Let me announce, day off always gets the loudest applause. Thank you. Professional Development Day. Mark your calendars. February the 9th, We're going to have a college-wide professional development day. I'm hopeful that this is one of the segments that Dr. Rob Johnstone may be attending, or in others, to continue to focus on pathways, to continue. Professional development is not a one-day initiative. We will continue to provide the resources and the support for all of our faculty and staff to have professional development opportunities. Creating that college-going culture. We're going to have a flag-raising ceremony for our 3rd elementary school adoption. We do firmly believe that college begins in kindergarten. Actually believe it begins in pre-K, but until we have pre-K for all, it begins in kindergarten. So we're working with Ramona Elementary, which is part of the Isleta Independent School District, to have that ceremony on September the 14th. Again, as we go forward with this construction, these children are already in the system. Our freshman class of 2025, they're currently 4th graders. They're already in the system. We need to make sure that they understand the expectation is that they will go to college and that they choose wisely and come to El Paso Community College. Dual credit. Professional development for our full-time faculty, professional development for our dual credit faculty, as well as our dual credit partners. So that will be our 3rd annual dual credit conference is going to be on Saturday, October 29th. 2016 from 8:30 to 1:30 p.m. So we certainly look forward to that. Dean Badillo and her team are diligently planning that. As you see, we have 61 high schools, 9 early college high schools as well that we partner with that will be in attendance. A real opportunity for us to continue to provide. These are college courses. The expectation is these are our courses, and that they continue to adhere to that. We did have that SAC COC visit last year, which came without a single recommendation. We will continue to work and ensure that our partners understand our expectation of dual credit coursework. There's the truck. So where's Fernie Flores? I already told him if I win, I'm going to give him the truck so he can retire that white truck he's got. So you pay the taxes, though. I'll give it to you, but you got to pay the taxes. So I have the winning ticket, but if some of you all believe that I don't have the winning ticket, then that 2016 Ford F-150 Sport, pretty nice looking truck there. The drawing will be on September 22nd. The tickets, there's only 300, okay? And there's 299 others besides mine at $100 a pop. We're going to pick, that will be picked on September the 22nd. When we're having the fajitas and margaritas for scholarships right here at the ASC in our culinary arts student competition. You see that there's the Golden Skillet Trophy for savory fajitas, as well as the Margarita Glass Trophy for the tastiest margaritas. There'll be mariachis, there'll be dancers, they'll absolutely be fun, and someone will win that truck. So we certainly look forward to that and to supporting our students. Really, all of these proceeds will go to student scholarships. So we're hopeful that all of you all can come and have a good fajita and perhaps a taste of a margarita or two. Ultimately, I want to end by saying thank you. El Paso Community College is an outstanding institution because of each and every one of you. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, we certainly appreciate the tremendous work, effort that goes into facilitating student success. Again, as Mr. Smith said, whether you're at the front line of the registrar's office or you're in the classroom or somewhere in between, we can't thank you enough for the great work that you do that ultimately benefits the students that we're privileged to serve. Thank you so much and have a great fall semester. Thank you.